Myers here with You Don't Know Squatch and my co-host Josh.
How you doing today, Jim?
Doing awesome. How are you, Josh?
All right.
How's the world of the skeptics today?
Well, I've been looking at some crazy stuff.
Have you? Yeah, there you go. You're always looking at some crazy stuff. None of which convinces you yet.
No, I haven't found that definitive piece of evidence yet.
You know what? It takes faith to be a skeptic, too. Hey, listen, we've got a great show today, and we've got another researcher from the East Coast on today.
So that's awesome. I love when we have people on the phone. What are they going to be talking about?
Well, this is the fellow's name is Aleksander Petakov, and Aleksander was in my store yesterday with Jason Frank, who's already been on the show.
Oh, the author.
So, yeah, the author. Harry's is his book, which is almost ready for publication. Jason brought Aleksander in. They have been in touch for a long time. That was the first time they actually met face-to-face, but they've been communicating for a long time, different research things. So he brought Aleksander in with another friend, and I thought, well, I've got Aleksander in the studio or in the store. Let's just try and do an interview. So I took him in the back room, and that's what you're going to hear. So it's not our normal interview where we're together in the studio. This was a Sasquatch Outpost backroom interview.
Yeah, this one's going to be skeptic-free.
Skeptic-free, exactly. All believers in the interview. But he's from New Hampshire and does some research up there, and Jason is going to interact with me on a couple other things and during the interview. But I think it'll be interesting. It's a different part of the country than we normally do.
Your call will be answered in the order it was received.
So this is Jim with You Don't Know Squatch, and I've got Aleksander. You got to say your last name for me again.
Aleksander Petakov.
Petakov. And Aleksander is a fellow researcher, lives in New Hampshire, and he happens to be in my store today. He came down with Jason Franks, and Jason is actually the first time they've met. They've been in touch online. So I know that our folks would love to know from another researcher from a different part of the country, actually, what got you interested in Bigfoot to begin with?
Oh, that's a good question. So when I was a kid, I was told the story of the Yeti, the abominable snowman, by my dad. And I think we were on a skiing trip up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. And the story just it meshed really well with me. I was obsessed. I started watching all the documentaries. And then as I got older, I got more into the armchair research kind of stuff. I was reading all the books, all the blogs, and then I got more into doing filmmaking on my own, and I kind of combined that with Bigfoot cryptozoology. And I don't really consider myself like an avid squatcher in the sense that I have like one specific spot I go to, but I have a lot of colleagues in New England that I'll go out with, and we have a good time and have stuff happen in other places as well. And I think that's one of my kind of favorite parts of being involved in it, is just meeting all the different folks like yourselves and getting out there and seeing the different types of terrain where these things kind of inhabit, whether it's the mountainous areas or the swamps down south, the forest that we have out east. So
every kind of terrain, isn't it?
Absolutely,
they're in every area. And you're wearing a really cool T-shirt. It shows the Boggy Creek Monster. It says The Legend of Boggy Creek. Yep. The true story of the Fouke Monster. And you actually bought this in Fouke, right?
Yes, yeah. I got that back in March. I got that in the Fouke Monster Mart down there. It's
Fouke Monster Mart.
Fouke Monster. They have a big, huge Bigfoot on the outside, and it's very similar to your setup here. They have tracks and a lot of Boggy Creek souvenirs. They even sell little vials of water, they just take from the actual Boggy Creek. So that's
kind of like our Bigfoot hair that we sell.
Quote
unquote Bigfoot hair.
Right.
So tell us about what you just found, what you told me about this movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yeah, they just did a remaster of it. I mean, this is one of the classic kind of Bigfoot and horror movies from the 1970s. Really, it was one of the first found footage films.
Right.
And the guy who did the original poster went on to do all the concept art for Star Wars.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Created what Darth Vader looks like. So it has a lot of pop culture connections.
Cool.
It inspired Blair Witch. So as a filmmaker, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it was kind of lost to time, and then they've done a remaster now in 4K. So
I would
that's
love
pretty
to see
exciting.
that.
Yeah,
Is it out? Available?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's that movie. It scares you. I watched it as a kid, and it's scary
Yeah.
because it's like the docudrama style. It's,
Yeah.
You don't know if it
real
seems
or is
real,
it
yeah,
fake? Yeah.
or if it's dramatized.
And I think most, if not everyone in that movie were the people that had the experiences.
Yeah, they were the locals. They, from what I've heard, they just kind of scooped up locals in the area and just got them to talk about their experiences and even reenact some of their experiences, like the Ford house that was attacked in the movie. So it's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's
it's a
awesome.
sweet area to check out. I recommend it if you're in that part of Arkansas.
I've never been to Fouke. Jason, have you been to Fouke?
Yeah, I've been through there a few times. I've never done haven't done any squatching down there, but I did have a really cool opportunity a few years ago with a friend of mine who's a researcher down there, and he got permission from the owners of the farmhouse where the confrontation happened inside the farmhouse. And back then, he got permission for us to actually stay in the farmhouse. 'Cause it was abandoned.
Awesome.
But unfortunately, my wife and I had some family stuff that kind of got in there, and we weren't able to go.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but that's all right. I'm gonna hunt him down and do that one of these days. Whenever the Squatches in Colorado leave me alone long enough to do it.
How many people can say they stayed in the farmhouse that was attacked?
That's
or in
crazy.
in the barn. So
That's awesome.
So Alexander, I don't know if Jason mentioned, but we're doing a movie this summer. We're calling it Backwoods, and it's going to be a docudrama or pseudo documentary, I guess is the word, where we're taking a bunch of experiences that I've had, Jason's had, a number of other researchers, combining it into one Bigfoot expedition. So it's in multiple accounts by multiple people, and then we're going to pull in experts such as Jason to talk about various aspects of research, and we're hoping to do a full-length feature film that will be on a pay-per-view online. So
awesome.
So that's
Very
as
exciting.
a filmmaker, I just wanted to mention.
Yeah,
that
that's kind of what I do. I mean, I'm my current documentary I'm working on is about actually mountain lions out east.
Okay.
Because technically they're extinct in that area,
Yeah.
but everyone sees them. I mean, it's common knowledge they're around. I believe my friend Malcolm here was originally from Vermont.
Yeah.
He saw one there. So there's a lot of stuff like that, but just putting it out there, you have the independence, the creative control. That's what I love. And
is
I've been
yours
lucky enough.
online viewing?
It's going to be, yeah. I'm
Okay.
still in the process of it. The other one I did was called On the Trail of Champ for Small Town Monsters, which was a series about the lake monster of Lake Champlain, Vermont. And that sort of stuff. So, and then I have, of course, my YouTube channel, which is called Sasquatch Out of the Shadows.
Good. I was
And-
going to
It's
ask you
awesome.
about that,
Yeah.
so our
I'm
folks
a big fan
can.
of that channel.
So I've interviewed Jason for that a couple
Good.
years ago. Actually, last time I was out in Colorado, about 2 years ago, we came into contact, and I interviewed him for that. And the whole point of that series is basically just doing kind of an open-ended documentary series, interviewing researchers, witnesses, folks that are involved in various aspects, and kind of a lot of them are unedited interviews, just sort of putting them out there and sharing a long-form experience that somebody's had.
It's amazing. I think it was the main one where it has the chirping and the and that's cool because that going back to one of my very first encounters, the face-to-face encounter I had, I always told people that I heard this chirping noise, and it was several of them chirping all at once. And I've never really heard anyone really catch audio, but that guy caught audio of it, and it's amazing to hear.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, that was a friend of mine up in New Hampshire, and I mean, the first time he played that sound,
Yeah.
it was so loud that it actually
It hurt
pierced
your
your
ears.
ears on the recording.
Yeah.
And these were recorders that he would leave out in the woods at night. He's like, this is what goes on out there at night.
So Alexander, I was going to ask you, what experiences have you had that our listeners might be interested to know about?
Yeah, so I've never had a visual sighting or an experience like that, but I've had some things that I believe are possibly related to Sasquatch, such as kind of rocks being thrown and wood knocks and whoops. And there was one in particular in Ohio with these guys called Dallas and Wayne. Maybe you guys have heard of them. They were kind of these old school Bigfoot guys, and they took us out to the spot called the Boneyard, where farmers will dump their dead cows.
Okay.
So you get into this spot, and this was a 90 degrees sunny day, but as soon as you get the spot in the middle of this national forest, the smell just hits you, the rotting cow, in the sun. So we walk up to this one spot, and he starts doing knocks. And all of a sudden we get a response from up in the woods in two different spots, and it's like the wood was changing pitch, like if you hit a different side of the tree, and the hair on the back of my neck stood right up, and I was so tempted to just run back there, but there was like 3 feet of grass in my way, and I tried to do it, and I got slowed down right away, but whatever was there was gone pretty quickly. But that was probably one of the most definitive ones, and I got that on video. I kind of videoed the whole
cool.
encounter.
So you can hear the knocks on your video.
Yeah, very
Awesome.
clearly, very
We
clearly.
were just talking about the orbs that people see, and like the one that I
Right.
saw. Have you spoken to any witnesses on your show that have seen the orbs as well?
I've seen 2 different orbs, once in
So
New Hampshire
bizarre.
and once in Pennsylvania. There's an area of Pennsylvania, we kind of call it the Pennsylvania Triangle, where some colleagues of mine who are more into other aspects of the paranormal, it's a property where they've had Bigfoot activity, UFOs, they see black helicopters over the property. Pennsylvania, of course, has a lot of Bigfoot encounters, but
Right.
some folks I interviewed for their last year, they had 3 generations worth of activity on their property. They were getting things just screaming at night. They were seeing juveniles. They had stuff mimicking their chickens. They put their chickens in at night, and then something in the woods would start walking around. Sounds like a chicken. Like we know it's not a chicken.
So 3 generations, meaning they've been there for 3
I
generations.
interviewed 3 generations.
Okay.
I interviewed the mother, the son, and his daughter, and they'd
Wow.
all lived in this property. So this past year, or actually just last month, when we were down in this area for a weekend over the holiday weekend last month, I was kind of staking down in that area, staked out and checking it out. Didn't have anything happen, but we go up back to the house and we see this UFO for like 5 minutes. I mean, flying through the sky. It was like a cloud that was illuminated with a light, and another object broke off of it and flew back into it, a little light. And we got it on night vision goggles,
cool.
and we have the video. I just posted it, actually, the full video on my website.
Oh, I'd love to see that for sure.
And it's so strange because this area, we would do town hall meetings, so we have everyone come and they talk about their experiences. A lot of Bigfoot stuff, a lot of UFOs in that area, but for whatever reason, it's that part of the mountains there, Appalachia, kind of where it begins, in Pennsylvania. There's just a lot of these stories.
Things seem to cluster in certain areas for
Right.
unknown reasons.
Right,
I know
yeah.
we see them up in our spot all the time. I've only seen it once, but between me and my guys, we've probably been seen 12 times.
And we had something weird happen.
Yeah,
We were
and
out
that's why I
camping.
didn't get out of the tent that night, because I'm like, I don't know what that is. I am not getting out
So
of the
repeat,
tent.
because we talked about it on Coast to Coast, but tell our folks.
Yeah, we'd had to interview about this because when Jim and I went out to my spot, we had some Sasquatch stuff. We'd had hands rubbing the tent, and that's about the same time Connie had her sighting.
Right.
And I went back to sleep because, I'm pretty used to that stuff. It doesn't bother me. So I just go back to sleep, and then about 20 minutes later, Jim wakes me up and goes, what the heck is that? And I look at the roof of the tent, and it's just glowing bright. Like a bluish color. It was just really bright. But the light was weird. It didn't really penetrate the tent. The roof of the tent was lit up, but it's like the light didn't come down. Like I couldn't see Jim very well.
Right.
But everything
it
else
wasn't like inside the tent. It was lit up.
It was weird, and it went on for about 20 seconds. And the first thing I thought, because it was the same color as the orb that I had seen in that area, which freaked me out. I'm like, I don't know, but if hovering over the tent, I'm not going to interact
gonna
with
go
it.
outside.
I'm not going outside. I'll stay right here,
boy.
and have
It
no
definitely
complications.
seemed to be shining down.
It was straight down on us for
and
sure.
then it was gone.
Yeah,
And
about
just
15,
disappeared.
20 seconds it was there, and then it was just gone.
So yeah,
It's bizarre.
the whole mix-up of Bigfoot, UFOs, extraterrestrials. Who knows?
Yeah, there may be a
What the
connection.
links are.
I mean,
Who
I've
knows
talked
what
to
the
so many
connections
folks
are.
that have claimed to have other experiences like that, and it's weird. Like I said, in this Pennsylvania spot, or even we've got the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts, which is one of these areas. Same thing. All this stuff reported. Why is it happening in these
Yeah.
particular spots? I think that's something that going forward we need to look into. But
And if the thing is, if humans have ghosts, which myself and a lot of other people believe that they do, you can run into them. Then who's to say if you're in an area that is frequented by Bigfoot all the time, when they pass on, maybe they have ghosts as well that hang out.
Yeah,
that's a
good
really
question.
interesting concept. Yeah,
That
It's
is
something to think about. And
it really makes you wonder.
yeah, I don't know. There's weird things that go on out there, and people don't believe it till they have to see it for themselves.
Right.
So Alexander, your YouTube channel again is Sasquatch
Out of the shadows.
Out of the Shadows.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
make sure our folks get a chance to go take a look at that and listen. And anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
Just happy to be out here in Colorado. I mean, there's
Yeah.
been so many encounters, and we may go out and do some.
I was just going to say, are you going to take them out somewhere? Or?
No, I'm going to be fishing and camping with the family here
Okay.
soon. But I might give them a couple
He's
of
going
pointers.
to give us a couple
Yeah.
spots.
You give them a couple pointers, but
I can give you a
then
couple spots
My
to
book
look
will
at,
hopefully
too.
be out within the next week or so.
Awesome.
And my website's going to be up this week, and that's BigfootoftheRockies.com.
Bigfoot of the Rockies, and the
Sounds
book
awesome.
is going to be called
Harry's.
Harry's.
Yep.
Harrys.
YS.
Harrys.
Yep.
Harrys.
Yep.
Harry's. Okay.
Yep. So
Great.
hopefully, if everything goes as planned and the publisher keeps on task, we should see it here in the next week or so.
Awesome. Well,
Nice.
you know we got to carry it in our store.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Okay.
yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thanks,
Thanks, Jim.
Jason. Thanks, Alexander, for being with us. And
Thanks for having me.
look forward to putting this up on our next podcast.
Well, that was an interesting interview. I really like that.
Yeah, just, it's a little different. We try to mix it up and not have everyone from one part of the country. And I liked having some perspective from the East Coast. And he's a great guy. I really enjoyed meeting Alexander. So,
Was there anything that stood out there that you learned from him that doesn't apply to Bigfoot over here?
no, I mean, everything he said is true of Bigfoot in the Rockies. In fact, I think as you get to know researchers from around the country, there's a lot more similarities than there are differences.
Huh.
It's just people don't know. The average person doesn't know just how much is going on in the Bigfoot world, and that we're finding the same things happening everywhere. So Bigfoot's creative, but there's commonalities about what they do and how they behave that I think are across the country and maybe around the world.
And he has a podcast too.
He does. His podcast, I think we mentioned it in the interview, but it's actually a YouTube channel. It's Sasquatch Out of the Shadows. So I encourage our listeners to check out Aleksander Petakov's YouTube channel, and he's got quite a few videos on there, and see what you think.
Yeah, and be sure to give him a subscribe while you're out there.
You got it.
You got some exciting news coming, right? You got the expansion?
Yeah, we do. At our store, we're going to be doing, at the end of July, we're going to have a bunch of extra space in the store. And we have decided that we are going to fill the entire store. The entire store will be Sasquatch Outpost merchandise. We've had some other things, some Carhartt and other gear in there, and we're going to go 100% Sasquatch Outpost. And our plan is, it's going to take us a few months to get there. My hope is by the end of the year, if you've been in my store, when you walk in, to the right has been all of the Carhartt clothing and outdoor gear, and then straight ahead is the Bigfoot section and the museum. So we're going to divide the store into two. So my goal is, as you walk into the store, it's going to be like you're walking into the woods. So I've got a whole bunch of trees I've already cut down. We're going to bring them in the store. It's going to be really cool. And so we're going to have the whole section that's been Carhartt, we're going to turn into an experience, the Sasquatch Outpost experience. So we're going to have lots of trees. We're going to have the walls and the ceiling painted. There's going to be sound effects, smells, all kinds of stuff back in there. We're hoping to build a cave back in that section and make it really cool. So you don't just have to go in the museum to have a fun time. It's going to be in the store as well. And on that side of the store is going to be our fun t-shirts, kids stuff, more of the fun merchandise. And then what is now the Bigfoot section of the store, which is where we have our t-shirts now, I'm going to turn into the serious squatching section. So right next to the museum, we're still going to sell outdoor gear, but it's going to be all Sasquatch related. So,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So the serious, backpacking stuff, squatching stuff. We're hoping to have some gear, which we don't have now, but bring in squatching gear. So people who are serious squatchers can come to our store and be kitted out for everything they need to do Sasquatch research.
A true Sasquatch Outpost.
A true Sasquatch Outpost. You got it. So it's only taken us 6 years to get there, but we are about to get there, and we look forward to seeing everybody coming in this fall and into early winter, and I hope we can give you glimpses of it as we're doing construction. And if any of you are particularly artistic, not autistic, but artistic, and want to come give me a hand with some of the detail painting and just think you'd have fun helping us, we could use all the help we could get. And just contact us at the Sasquatch Outpost or through our podcast.
Well, that's great. I mean, you guys go all out.
When we go out, we go all out.
You know, the museum it's something else. I've never seen anything like that before.
Well,
you know,
we're gonna take that same creativity, I hope, and put it into the store itself. So
man,
it should be a lot
wait.
of fun.
I cannot wait for that. That's gonna be rad. So I guess that's gonna be it for this episode.
That will wrap it up for this episode of You Don't Know Squatch.
And it was so good to it was good to hear from Alexander and Jason again.
Yep.
It's always good to have on the show. And we want to remind everybody that we're available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else
in the world that you want to find You Don't Know Squatch.
Yeah, so be sure to subscribe, like, whatever you do at those sites. And I guess, until next time.
Just remember,
you don't know Squatch.